Hey everyone, imagine chemicals so strong they almost never disappear. They're called PFAS, and they're in rain jackets, non-stick pans, fast food wrappers, and even our drinking water. Scientists call them forever chemicals because they last for decades. Today, we're explaining everything in simple words: what PFAS are, where they hide, whether they can make you sick, what symptoms you might or might not notice, who needs to be extra careful, and most importantly, what practical steps you can take right now. Perfect for parents, students, and anyone who wants the full picture. Let's get started. What is PFAS? PFAS stands for per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances. It's a big group of more than 15,000 man-made chemicals invented in the 1940s. They make things waterproof, stain-proof, grease-proof, and heat-proof. That's why they're so useful. But here's the catch: they break down extremely slowly in nature and inside our bodies. That's why everyone calls them forever chemicals. In which products do PFAS hide? You'll find PFAS in everyday items like non-stick cookware such as Teflon pans, water-repellent and stain-resistant clothing, shoes, and furniture, grease-proof food packaging, think microwave popcorn bags, pizza boxes, and fast food wrappers, firefighting foam used at airports and by firefighters, some cosmetics, shampoos, dental floss, and cleaning sprays, stain-resistant carpets and upholstery. They're basically used in factories for paper, electronics, and cars, so they're basically everywhere. How do PFAS get into the environment and soil? PFAS enter the environment in several ways. Factories can release them into air or water. When we wash treated clothes or throw products away, they go down the drain. Firefighting foam soaks into the ground at military bases and airports. Landfills leak them, and sometimes treated wastewater is used as fertilizer on farms. Once in the soil, PFAS don't stay put. Rain washes them deeper into the ground until they reach our groundwater and wells. They travel long distances in rivers and oceans and can even fall back down with rain. Scientists have found PFAS in remote places like the Arctic. Because they never break down, they build up in fish, animals, and the entire food chain. Can you get sick from PFAS? At the low levels most people have, you usually feel completely fine. There are no sudden symptoms like a rash, headache, or stomachache. PFAS don't act like a virus or food poisoning. The concern is long-term. Studies from the EPA and CDC show that higher exposure over many years is linked to a slightly higher chance of higher cholesterol levels, weaker response to some vaccines, higher blood pressure during pregnancy, slightly lower birth weight in babies, increased risk of kidney and testicular cancer, especially with PFOA. Most people with PFAS in their blood stay perfectly healthy. The risks are about small increases in chance, not certainty. Some groups need to be extra careful because their bodies are still developing or they take in more PFAS per body weight. Pregnant women and unborn babies, PFAS can cross the placenta. Breastfed babies, small amounts can pass through breast milk, although the CDC says the benefits of breastfeeding still outweigh the risks. Just try to lower your own exposure. Young children, they drink and eat more per kilo and crawl on floors and carpets. Firefighters and some factory workers, they can have higher exposure because of the special foams and materials they use every day. That's why doctors pay extra attention to blood pressure and baby growth during pregnancy in areas with known PFAS in water. The good news? Blood levels of PFAS are already dropping in many countries because the oldest types are being phased out.
How do I know if I have PFAS in my body? You can check with a blood test that measures specific PFAS levels. It's not a routine checkup yet, but it's available if you're worried. National surveys show almost everyone has some PFAS, but the amounts are usually low and have been slowly decreasing. PFAS leave the body very slowly, mostly through urine. For the most common ones, it can take 2 to 8 years for half to disappear. There's no quick detox or magic pill. The best way is to stop adding more by reducing exposure. Then your levels drop naturally over time. Some studies suggest that donating blood regularly, if you're healthy and allowed, can lower levels. Early research on certain fiber supplements like psyllium or oat beta-glucan eaten with meals may help trap PFAS so they leave in your stool, but always talk to your doctor first. How can you limit exposure to PFAS? Drinking water is often the biggest source. Test your tap water and use a certified filter, activated carbon or reverse osmosis, if needed. Switch to cast iron or stainless steel pans instead of non-stick. Choose fresh, home-cooked meals instead of fast food wrappers when possible. Look for clothes and furniture labeled PFAS-free or without added fluorinated chemicals. Wash new items before use. Pick plain dental floss and simple cosmetics. Check local fish advisories if you eat a lot from lakes or rivers. For gardeners, be careful with compost from unknown sources. For pregnant women and families with young children, these steps are especially smart. Who regulates PFAS? Many organizations are taking action. In the United States, the EPA created the first national drinking water limits for 6 key PFAS in 2024. As of 2026, the strict 4 parts per trillion limit for PFOA and PFOS stays in place, with compliance extended to 2031, so water companies have time to install treatment. Some states have even stronger rules. In Europe, new limits started on January 12, 2026. All countries must test drinking water and keep the sum of 20 PFAS below 100 parts per trillion and total PFAS below 500 parts per trillion. Many European countries are also banning PFAS in clothing, cosmetics, and food packaging step by step. Companies are developing safer alternatives, and big cleanup projects are happening. Conclusion. So, PFAS are tough chemicals found almost everywhere, but we now have clear science and practical tools to protect ourselves. You can't do a one-day detox, but every smart choice you make lowers your exposure and helps future generations. Science, governments, and companies are working hard on cleaner solutions. You can start today. Share this video with friends and family, especially if there are pregnant moms or young kids around. Thanks for watching. If this helped, give it a like, subscribe for more honest science explained simply, and tell me in the comments, which tip are you going to try first? Stay safe and see you next time.